Hey guys, it's Brian with Retired at 40. This morning I'm in San Francisco. Just kidding, I'm in my new house in Iowa and it's really foggy this morning. And today I'm going to do my first video in the new house. It's pretty exciting. Somewhere back here in all this mess is a freeze dryer, so I think I'm going to try and use it today. So last fall I actually had the chance to plant some garlic in here and it looks pretty ripe for the picking, if not a little overdone. But today we're going to pull out some garlic. And because we're in middle America right now, there's wildflowers everywhere. They're all over the ditches, they're all over the sides of the roads. And I've gotten quite a few requests to do wildflowers. So today we're going to do garlic and we're going to do wildflowers. And I think I'm going to do some herbs also. So this garlic has been severely neglected. Obviously I haven't been here to take care of it, but garlic is pretty low maintenance. You can see some of it's already gone to seed, it looks like. So the stuff that went to seed I might actually just leave because I've never let garlic go to seed like this. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens. There's only a couple I think that went to seed, but let's see what some of this garlic looks like. And we just got some rain, so we should be able to pull this right out of the ground. Wow, those are way bigger bulbs than I've had in Colorado, so you can tell the soil is quite a bit better here, even though the soil that's in this particular spot is not real great for what Iowa normally would have. Wow, look at that big daddy. Let's see who can find the biggest garlic. All right, I'll get the shovel under them and then you guys can pick them up, okay? We'll see who gets the biggest one.
Smells like garlic over here. Cord for you.
That's a nice one. Everyone stand by their piles. We'll see pick out the biggest one. We'll see who the winner is. I think that's mine.
You're mine.
That's your biggest one? That one looks pretty big too right there. I don't know, it's too close to call. That one's really big too. All right, I think it's a three-way tie. Oh man, look at that garlic crop. So if you've never done garlic before, it's pretty much one of the easiest things that you can grow. Normally I would pick this a little bit earlier. I wouldn't have so much brown on here because each one of these leaves that died, that's another layer that's going to get soft on this garlic, so it's not going to store as well, but this should do fine, and especially if we freeze dry it, I think it's going to freeze dry really well. So we've got our garlic all picked and it's ready to go. Now let's do some good old-fashioned gravel travel and find some wildflowers. Here we go down the back roads. This is not an episode of American Pickers, however, we are on a gravel road and we are in Iowa. I'm also in a white van. All right, here's our first victim. This is called something lace, I think. I can't remember, I'll have to look. Whoa, next stop, these are cool. Look like wild lilies. Some cool yellow little flowers. Snapdragon. The last two wildflowers I'm trying to find are the black-eyed Susan and the coneflower, which I think are the coolest wildflowers in middle America. They're usually a lot more prevalent, but we've had a really dry year this year, so I'm not really seeing a whole lot, but I think I spotted a couple close to home, so I'm gonna head that way. So I haven't found them yet, but I did find a cool park with this suspension bridge. Check that out. I don't know if you can see it bouncing or not, but it's a true suspension bridge. I have to make it back here and explore some more. This looks like the end of the road for right now. There's probably lots of wildflowers back there, but there's probably also lots of critters. I just hit the black-eyed Susan mother lode. This entire field is full of them. I don't know if you can see it, if the yellow shows up, but there's some right here by the road. Here's a close-up of these, and that's why they're so cool. They're just, they're really, really cool when you see a whole field full of these things. Aha, finally found some. They're not the best example, but you get the picture. They're really neat looking. They come in a couple different colors. Most of them you see on the in the ditches and just kind of in fields are these pink colors, but they also have orange and yellow and all kinds of different colors. But you can see the coneflower name. So I'm going to get all of these on a freeze dryer tray and into the deep freeze before I move on to my herbs, because I think that the flowers probably, they're going to start wilting really fast, especially because it's super hot out today. So I've made a couple upgrades to my freeze drying repertoire. So I got an upright freezer, which is going to help a lot for pre-freezing. But right now we're going to check and see if these flowers can hang on until I get them in the freeze dryer. So for the herbs, I'm going to do some basil, and my cilantro is not doing real hot this year, so we're just gonna go with the store-bought. All right, I'm gonna get the freeze dryer started. So a couple of different things here. So Iowa is really, really humid, and I'm kind of curious to see what the difference is between freeze drying something in high humidity, which is completely opposite of what I'm used to. In Colorado, it's very, very dry all the time. So right now my freeze dryer is out in the garage, which is not the ideal spot for it. And as we kind of get moved into the place, I'll move it downstairs. Inside, you know, it's not going to be high humidity or as high humidity. But I'm really curious to see what it does to a cycle, if it makes it longer, if it changes the amount of ice on the inside, if it fogs up the door, who knows. All right, our basil is ready to go, as well as our garlic. I diced some. What I'm trying to go for with this stuff is just some minced garlic, and then this stuff I took the skin off and I smashed it down with a knife just so there's a way for the moisture to come out of here. But these are all whole cloves. Normally, obviously, if you were picking garlic, you would want to let it cure for a while. Probably about a couple weeks, and that's mainly just for storage, but I think the freeze dryer, you should be able to bypass that if everything goes the way I think it's gonna go. All right, let's load this sucker up. This is my first freeze dryer cycle that I've done since we moved. So we've got our basil and garlic in. Here are our wildflowers. They look like they're staying pretty steady. They're not wilting too bad. The lilies are just a little bit. Let's see if I can kind of tuck these down here so they don't wilt too bad during the freeze dry. And then here's our cilantro. All right, this should be a pretty quick cycle, I think, because this isn't real wet stuff. So you might be wondering what in the heck I'm gonna do with some of the stuff. Why would you want to freeze wildflowers? Why would you want to freeze dry garlic? Why would you want to freeze dry garden herbs?
Yeah, why would you, man?
So we'll actually get into that in a second. First, if you enjoy the content, take a minute to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It gets this video out to people who enjoy this type of video. After you hit subscribe, click the bell. That'll give you the notifications of new videos that come out. And if you do that, you'll get to join me and my family on our new journey of retirement at the age of 40 and come with us on all of our adventures. Wow, that was a fast cycle, 17 hours and 50 minutes. But the question is, did it actually freeze dry in 17 hours? So right away, I'm seeing a big difference with the humidity. It's a really humid day out here, and I'm not used to that. But let's get this inside. Way less ice than there usually is on the inside, but that could just be because everything is dry. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. God. Well, the freeze dryer wasn't lying. Everything got really nice and dry. The flowers will do first, and they really did pretty good. I think that you need to, right after you cut them, they need to go into the freezer as soon as you can, because they do start to wilt a little bit. And some of these, by the time I got home and got them in the freezer, they had been cut for 45 minutes or an hour. The lilies are really cool. They're obviously very, very fragile, but they'd make really cool decoration. What I'd be curious to see is if you could cut these during the fall time when the seeds are ready, and then freeze dry the seeds, and then actually rehydrate them and plant them the next season. Maybe I'll give that a shot and see if that works next spring. The cilantro and the basil worked perfect. They're totally dry. They're also really fragile, but it would be really cool just to store this in a ball jar like this, and then we make a lot of salsa and things like that that call for ingredients like that, and you could just throw it right in the mix, and it would just rehydrate it as you were making it. The basil, it actually shrunk up a lot. There was a lot of shrinkage. So now the garlic was the one that I was most curious about, and this granulated garlic is really good. It's perfect. It's already diced. It would be awesome to be able to throw this into a recipe. And then the whole cloves are really hard, but I think if you threw these in a blender, this is where everyone is talking about making garlic powder, because you could just mash it down into a powder and it would work just about perfect. I would guess once the garlic is freeze-dried like this, you'd have pretty much a lifelong ability to store this. It's as long as you kept it out of moisture, I think it would be fine. It's super dry. So no doubt in my mind the cilantro will do just fine, as well as the basil. I'm really curious to see what the garlic does, especially the granulated garlic, once it goes back in water. So after about 5 minutes, this granulated garlic is totally rehydrated again. You could also just throw it in if you were using it for a stir fry or a recipe. As long as it was cooking with some moisture, it would have no problem rehydrating. Well, it looks like the new house brought us some luck. It seems like it's been a while since I've had 100% success on everything I've done, but really everything today did really, really well. I'm excited to use it. In fact, I would almost be on board for just freeze drying all my garlic and not even storing it anymore, because really it's just it takes all the headache out of it. Well, I'm really excited to bring you more videos from the new house and just a whole new territory in general for us. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple, and we'll catch you next week.